I'm Nadine Brandis, the author of FAWKES and the Out of Time series, and today I wanted to talk about how to find a literary agent. An author would want a literary agent if they are hoping to get traditionally published with a major publishing house. Some small traditional publishing houses do not require an agent to submit the manuscript, but most of the main ones do. So first things first, before you start looking for an agent, you're going to want to finish your book. That's because you can't really query an agent if you don't have a manuscript to send them. If they look at your query and they're like, hey, cool, she's awesome, I want to read her book. And then they send you an email and say, hey, cool, you're awesome, I want to read your book, send it to me. And then you don't have one to send to them. Look what's just happened, you're stuck for a long time until you finish your book. You don't want that to happen. After you have finished your manuscript, the first step that you will want to do is probably make a list of agents that you are interested in querying, or just agents who represent what you write. And so there are a lot of ways to find agents. I know it can be super intimidating because if you just go on Google, there are so many agents out there. Some of them are good agents, and then there are others that are really sketchy that you want to avoid, that are bad. So, how do you find a good agent? Well, one of my favorite ways is looking at all of the books on my shelf and the types of stories that I want to tell, and then I just flip back to the little acknowledgement section, and usually an author will mention or thank their agent. And so I know, hey, I like this book. Hey, this book is in my genre and for the age group, and it's the same type of thing that I'm writing. There's an agent who represents what you write. They're not looking for repeat books. They're looking for books that match their tastes. So you can find agents by looking in the acknowledgement section of your favorite books. You can also go to bookstores and do it there, or libraries. Also, you can look in writers' market guides. They're usually updated every year, and they list every agent and publisher and what they're looking for every single year. You can also get recommendations from friends. If you're in author circles and they have agents, get some recommendations of names to seek out. So while you're doing this, create a big long list of all of the names of the agents that you're potentially interested in pursuing, and make a note of some of their top clientele and some of the books that they've represented, so familiarize yourself with them. Next, you're going to want to prepare your query letter. You are going to want to have a query letter. There are so many resources out there on how to write them, and actually Alexa Dunn, the author of Brightly Burning, her channel has a lot of videos on how to query, how to write a query, so I will link to her channel below. But you're going to want to prepare your query letter. It's your pitch to them. You're also going to want to prepare a synopsis of your story. I am sorry, we all hate this. Blah. Writing a synopsis for your story is pretty much the worst thing ever, 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 ever. I hate it. Part of me is like, do they really read this? Because it's terrible. But you have to do it. Because some agents want a synopsis and some don't. But you want to have a synopsis ready for those who do. Okay, so let's say that you have your query letter done, your synopsis written, and your first 3 chapters nice and polished. Then you start submitting to agents on your list. My recommendation is not to submit to more than about 5 agents at a time, because you may get feedback from those 5 agents that all say the same thing, like, hey, your opening hook isn't that strong. And then you're going to want to apply that feedback and fix it, and then send it to the next batch of agents. So, query the agents in batches. Something to take note of is an agent's preferences. They will usually have it listed on their website or on their agency's site what they are looking for and how they prefer you to send your manuscript or your query or whatever it is you're sending them. It's really important to submit what they're asking for. That shows a mutual respect for their preferences. It shows a willingness to work with them and that you would be a good teammate. Also, you need to be very personal with each agent. Do not just do a mass email that's CCing every single agent on your list and you send out that query. That will get deleted pretty much instantly. You're guaranteeing to be rejected by everybody if you do that. Agents want to see you being personal. And don't you want to be personal? Because the agent-author mesh is all about relationship and friendship and being able to talk openly about all things publishing and your writing journey and your personal journey and how that all goes together. Your agent is going to be your teammate, and they would like you to be a non-psycho teammate as well. A few final notes. Number 1, this is going to take time. Sending in queries takes time to write each individual email, and then it takes a couple months to hear back from agents. That's normal. Sometimes you won't even hear back from an agent. That's also normal. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. It's just gonna take patience, and I hope you're patient. Also, you will get rejections. Not all agents are looking for exactly what you're pitching. Maybe you pitch them a story that's exactly like a story that they just picked up. Maybe you're pitching something that they've decided they're not that interested in. I know that it feels personal, but the agent is not trying to attack you personally. They're coming at it from a business standpoint, which is what you want in an agent. So accept the fact that getting rejections is normal. It's hard. But you can do it. I have faith in you. Think of all the other authors who have done it until finally they get that offer. So on that note, when you do get an offer, hooray! Woohoo! Ow, I just hit myself in the face. That's how excited I am for you. So I would highly, highly advise that after you do your celebratory dance and you go out and eat a giant tub of chocolate ice cream, take some time to breathe and let the excitement settle a bit, and take a week to think about if you actually want to sign with this agent. I know that right away you probably want to just sign away your life. That's how I felt when I was offered representation by my first agent, and I was so excited. I was like, I don't need to think about it. I don't need to talk about it. All I know is yes. And my husband was like, I'm glad you're excited, honey, but let's take a week. I thought about it. I talked to my husband about it. I prayed about it. I really thought about my writing career and what my hopes were for the future and whether or not we would be a good fit. An agent is not going to retract their offer of representation if you take a week to think about their offer. And in fact, if they do retract their offer in that time, that's a red flag. You want an agent who's going to let you think things through. So by thinking it through, it also shows the agent that you're taking this very seriously, that you're really trying to think about if you guys would be a good fit. Another thing of note is that you should never, ever, ever, ever pay an agent to represent you. If an agent comes to you and says, sure, I'll represent you for this fee every year, avoid, run in the opposite direction. That's a crook. An agent's payment comes from the royalties that you make and from your advances that you get from them securing a publishing contract for you. So that's kind of the short on how to get an agent. Let me know if you have any specific questions in the comments, and I will either answer them in the comments or in a future video. And I hope that this was a good overview of the agenting process and how to get an agent for you. So let me know in the comments what you thought and what you're glad I did cover. And if you want to keep up on my videos, click subscribe or the little bell icon that sends you an email every time I post a new video. Until next time, tally ho! You need a literary agent if you're hoping to go